Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone around the world. I am Paul Sisler, and this is In the Moment. Oh my goodness, I tell you, the world news, everything going on, the chaos. Oh my God, I tell you, just so many things going on. I can't concentrate, I can't focus. I got so many things to do. Yes, a lot of us, we have problems quieting the mind with all the distractions and everything going on. It's just so hard to concentrate sometimes. And then there's a few of us that just have a mind that just won't shut up. It won't let us go to sleep. It wakes us up. All of these different things. What do you do? Well, I got the perfect two people here to answer that for you. Hello, Shadow Fox and Lee Two Hawks.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for listening to the flow.
All right. So, quieting the mind, creating focus. How do we go about doing this?
We have no idea. No, we're teasing. No. It's I think when it comes down to it, Lee Two Ox and I were speaking the other night, and people had that question whether through meditation. Sometimes they'll meditate, and it could be years before they actually get to quiet the mind. um, you know, what is meditation? What types of meditation are there? And when we look at healing, the healing modalities, when there is peace within the body, within the mind, then healing can take place. So Lee Two Hawks and I were speaking about it. Well, he says, well, do people understand what that piece, what it actually means, a reference point? And everybody can say, yeah, we all know what peace means, right? Well, do we? Do we? And I think that what I'd like to do is just turn it over to Lee Two Hawks for a little bit, um, if you're
Sure.
if you're ready, and have him discuss this a little bit, and then later through this broadcast, I think what I may do is offer a few little techniques. It could be considered a meditation. It could just be considered something you kind of do when you're driving down the road or you're out in your garden. Um, so again, it's not really like I'm going to be leading you through an actual meditation. It's going to be more like follow the storyline. Um, so I'm going to turn it over to Lee Two Hawks and.
Before Lee jumps in, I just want to let the people know that are also watching us via Twitter. I also have the Twitter feed up, so leave a comment on there. It is a few minutes behind, but if you put a question on Twitter, I will try to get to it.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Kato. Hi, Sage.
Go ahead,
Yes.
Lee.
Go ahead.
So I always try to approach this program with notes. Well, there are no notes I can give you because it's only 7 notes.
Well, there's eight if you go
Well,
with the eighth note, which is a half note.
You got the flats and the sharps. Yeah, so that creates actually 13, I believe. So the question I would ask is, what world do you build the edifice of life? What world do you build the edifice of life? Is it with anger? Is it with jealousy? Is it with pain? Is it with grief,
Suffering.
or is it the joy of being?
Mm.
That seems to be a conflict or a contradiction, and actually it isn't. Because through the things we all go through the pain, through the anger, is building us into a joy that we would not know unless we have been through these experiences.
So if we're looking at, you know, quieting the mind, finding that peaceful point, that zero point, or even stepping into the position of being the observer and watching and seeing those thoughts just, pass right on by. How? how would you, how do you perceive that peaceful mind, peace within the body?
The number one aspect is you have to have the desire to alter your present behavior.
Mhm.
Now, is that enough to motivate you? That's your decision. Because there are people lived into 80s, 90s, 100, and they still carry either grief or some anger or some bitterness over an event in their life or regret. So that the whole thing of altering, even meditation, it may help in settling the nerves, but doesn't settle the mind.
Mm.
So one has to question that. What is your motivation? What is your desire? What is your intent? Because without having the correct intention or the correct desire, you're going to stay in your status quo. And it really is as simple as that. Meditation helps. Yes, it does. Correct meditation helps.
Mhm.
In that aspect, what do you do when your mind is racing? I was trained in hypnosis for, I've had so many classes that I can't even imagine. But I've had patients that just wouldn't work on because their mind was too busy. And I didn't have the patience or understanding to work with
At that time,
at
yeah.
that time. Yes.
Mm.
And one of my dear friends, she was just such a wonderful person, but she was always after the bad boy. And she wondered why her relationship was working out. Duh. Well, okay. If that's something that you're after, that you have to have that excitement or that training that puts you there in that place. I can't change your mind. Hypnosis can't change your mind. Meditation can't change your mind. The only thing that can change your mind is you, your aspiration, your intention, and your desire to be in a different position than where you are at this point.
Okay. When we take a look for quieting that mind, finding that mm, peaceful moment, they're runners. They can get what they call in the zone, right? Athletes, artists. I mean, Lee Two Hawks, would break out a canvas and start painting, and he would start at 6 in the morning and go until 11 o'clock at night and go, oh, today, I'm hungry. And it was like hours and hours and hours would just go by. And so when we look at, quieting the mind, I'd just like to make a note here that it's also a part of a focus. Writers can step into that. You okay? What am I going to write? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And all of a sudden they sit down and then they just kind of get into the flow. And then, I mean, you could have like a fire whistle blow right next door to you, and you wouldn't even hear it. Why? Because you are within a very structured focus.
Well, let me ask you this. You found that focus doing a particular aspect, whether it's painting or whether it's in a job
Mhm.
or business that you're involved in or accounting or anything of that nature. How do you perpetuate that throughout a lifetime?
Good question. And again, we can come down because many people think, what is meditation? Okay, oh, I can't meditate. It's like you make a mention of meditation and you've turned off half of the people. And then on the other side, it's like, then you have the other half going, go ahead, tell me, show me, let's do this meditation. And this is why when I present, unless we're actually kind of like in a physical capacity or it's an actual meditation that I'm leading and it will be stated as such. I really do kind of just like going through and doing it as a storyline because there are many people that have no idea what meditation is. They've never experienced or they've tried to. Meditation is in a sense a focus. It is a focal point. And I know, Paul, if I'm not mistaken, you've had some difficulty in quieting the mind.
Correct.
But but you did realize later on, once you started writing, right, and you went through and started doing your poetry, that you literally could turn the rest of
Yep.
those thoughts off and concentrate, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I have a thing I call the recognition of selfhood,
Mhm.
which is basically a quiet mind. And I have different definition of mind than but I'll use the term because everybody's used to it. We have the brain, and then we have the mind, which is superior to the brain, but it's also the transmitter. But that's beside the
And
point.
mind is the builder.
Mind is the builder. I used to teach that class. He remembers.
Yes.
But how many years ago was that?
Oh,
Oh
30.
Lord. But anyhow, it's not to say that the hooks we hang our life on, those hooks being anger or revenge or whatever they may be that cause us distress and discord, those are hooks that we hang our jacket on. So you got to take the hooks down and lay your jacket on the floor, and it doesn't matter if it's messy.
When we have sometimes we'll have like the merry-go-round, right? The loop-the-loops. It's constant your thought, and it's constant repeating over and over and over again. And it could be those things that we tell ourselves, or the things that we were told as children. Like, you're stupid, you're never going to amount to anything, or that low self-esteem. That
Well, in my case, they were right, but okay.
Stop. And, oh my, thank you. So,
Oh my.
just lost my train of track. Yeah, my
Yeah.
train of track. Okay,
Yeah.
I forgot that one too. But when we get those loop-to-loops, and we're constantly within that framework of, or say, for instance, you have an incident with maybe someone at work, and it's kind of like you're wondering, okay, well, what did I do wrong, or this or that, or why is this person angry at me? And you're constantly trying to figure that out. We all look for those answers, right, so that we can be rest assured that we're accepted and we're a-okay and all this other stuff. And it gets to a point where, when we notice that these thoughts are kind of like way out of balance, okay, take a moment, cancel, erase, delete. I'm sorry, I didn't like that. That thought is not serving me. It's a constant over and over and over. We're not moving on. Like, I had this thought at 1 o'clock in the morning, and guess what? I'm still thinking about it. And, I'm even having dreams about it. We can tell our brain, our mind is the builder, to stop, to be silent, to be quiet. And again, it's try it. Or even when you have those thoughts like, oh, I'm a stupid, ugly little kid. Nobody's going to love me. I'm going to go eat some sloppy, slimy worms.
Why are you telling my life story?
I put in the sloppy, slimy worms. That came from mine. I kind of double dipped here a little, But these are the things that, especially when we've had a rough day, right? We tend to kind of, I call it stink thinking, we can stop that simply by cancel, erase, delete, and insert another one, create a different neural pathway, basically. I'm going to turn it over to you real quick, because I would like to really start getting into some of these, mechanisms for, clearing the mind, for recognizing that, we're having these thoughts. That's half the battle.
Well, that is the key, using the term recognition.
Yep.
And sometimes we can recognize it and throw the recognition out because we're more comfortable being where we're at. This is what we've been doing most of our life, or an event happened that made us choose to put ourselves in the experience. So my question is, what do you choose to live by? Which hook do you choose by? Or do you use these experiences in which to build your true selfhood?
Yeah.
Now that you're talking about techniques, I can't answer that. I don't know. I don't know how I've done it. If I'm even there, I don't know. But I do have a quiet mind.
Mhm.
And part of it is through cancellation. There are thoughts that come into my livelihood that I wish weren't there, but I do cancel them because I do not wish to think in that pattern
Right.
of thought. So we have to change our pattern of thought.
Yep.
From where we're at into one of more beneficial livingness.
Just the idea of just noticing them, right?
Yes.
Where, and again, when we take notice of something, it doesn't mean that we're giving that full attention to it. It's like, yeah, I just noticed the rabbit going by. Okay, good. There's a rabbit. Ting, ting. We can notice as those thoughts enter our mind. Do we choose to give relevance to it? Is it serving us? I mean, if I were, to step into that, like self doubt or fears or those self injustices, like somebody had done me wrong. I mean, how many people really have grown up in a home where it was completely chaotic, noisy, frustrating, angry? Parents, they could have been, users, abusers, all of these things that created an intricate part of ourselves that we were always in survival mode, right? So how do we step out of that? How do we gain that little bit of semblance of where is peace? Maybe you did not grow up in a peaceful environment, but that does not mean that it has to define you, and it does not mean that you cannot create peace just like that. It is a choice, and it means that there's dedication. Yes. It will it happen like absolutely for the rest of your life? You think about it once, and no, it is a process, um, like creating a new habit. So
Yeah, well, I was picking my nose and I changed that, at least in public.
oh please, oh please, can I go home now?
Now, you bring up some real good things here because the being able to meditate, as most people think of, okay, I can't do that. That does not work for me. My mind just goes a million miles per hour. I have all these thoughts coming in. But going to what you're saying, I can't just shut it off like that.
Uh-huh.
But, excuse me, what I have learned to do, especially like with my writing, if I get into my writing, I don't have all that other noise. I have my writing. One of the other things that I do is I take my pup for a walk. And I have found, believe it or not, that I'm not thinking about all these other things. I just realized this the other day. I'm not thinking about all these other things when I go out and I walk my pup because I'm looking at the bunny rabbits, I'm looking at the birds, and I'm truly enjoying nature. And that in itself is meditation because I don't have everything else going on. Just
But you
yes,
do, Paul. That's
huh?
the thing. You do have it going on, but you're focused on a particular
Yes,
event, whether it's a writing or walking pup. So
right,
that pushes everything else aside. All the input,
correct.
you got the birds singing, you got the wind blowing, maybe it's raining in your face and you don't care
Yeah,
because you're out there and you're doing a focused event.
yes,
And
and it's
maybe
the
that's
most
something, maybe that's one of the keys to
yes,
altering behavior.
Yep.
right, and that's what I'm trying to point out is that because I can do that, I can actually now I can be sitting here when my mind is running a million miles an hour. I don't have to go on the walk. All I have to do is think about the walk.
Of the walk.
And I can throw everything else out of my mind and just go on the walk in my head and I can get that peace. So for me, that is now my meditation. So for someone that can't get all the quiet to go out and you're like, okay, Shadow Fox, I just can't shut it off. There are other ways to get there to where you can. It may not be this method or this method or that method, but there is a way, because I was one of those people that used to believe there's no way to shut it off, and now I can shut it down, not off,
Yes.
down.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
here's
yeah.
I'll let
Okay.
you speak in a minute, okay?
Yeah.
A relational aspect. When I was doing the hypnosis training, there's a workshop called regressive hypnosis, which means going back to birthing or even in the womb, even that far, take that patient back or that individual back to that point. So we had to trade partners. Okay, so one partner would work in pairs, of course, and give each other a regressive event. So the person that was working with me says, I wish you go back to your child. I said, no. She says, why is that? I said, it hurts. Let's go back to your birthing. No. Why? Because that hurts. Let's go back to the womb. I am unwanted. No, I will not go there. So I had to think, what do I do with that? It doesn't matter. It has no evidence in my life at this time. It has no particular influence on my thinking. My thinking now is about joyfulness, happiness, content. If you can't have happiness, you can at least have content. That's like if you're married to somebody, you may be not happy with them, but it's content because it gives you the satisfaction of having a partner. No, I'm not talking about you. Okay. Well, maybe I am. So there is that aspect. And I think we really hit a key on something. That if you become focused on something, whether it's a what do you do when you do so avocational or even inavocation, that you focus on something, and everything else just releases itself from your brain, and there's no stimulus that allows you to alter that unless you get hit by a car while walking your dog. Then there's a change of thought. Okay? So we have to understand that there's a distinguishing aspect to being alert at the same time being calm or at peace or in some way content with the environment you're in at the time.
You know, there's a few things that I'd like to bring about very quickly. And again, like Paul had made a reference to it, walking out in nature. Nature will always bring forth and reset those rhythms within us. It's just paying attention to it. Now, another way of quieting the mind is breath work. And there are so many different forms of breath work through meditation. There's breath work for anxiety or depression, even. And there's also breath work that stimulates the vagus nerve. And what's really neat about that is the vagus nerve is one of the largest nerves within the body. And when we stimulate that, it resets so we're not constantly in that fight or flight. We're not constantly feeling like we're in that survival mode. And when we take a look at breath work, and you can, it may seem like, okay, it looks like a triangle, right? You're going to breathe in, and then you holding it, and then you breathe it out, and then you breathe in. You can switch that out around so that it's a square even, right? So you're breathing 4, holding 4, exhaling 4, breathing in 4 again. So there's different numbers for the amount of time that you actually hold it. There is so much to say about the different breathing techniques, and that is another form or another way that you can also quiet the mind. I mean, I'm going to offer a couple of little things, and the reason why is because there's so many different people that are listening. What works for one person may not necessarily work for the other. Like Lee Two Hawks and I, we have totally different ways that we meditate. And it's funny because he could be in one part of the house, I'll be in the other part of the house, and we'd be meditating, and yet we could do it as a seed thought. And then all of a sudden, our meditations, they come out exactly the same. I mean, sometimes we'll meditate, we journal, or it just got to be to the point where he's meditates like in the morning. I may meditate after I wake up in the morning. So you got to recognize that what do you as an individual consider meditation?
Okay, let's preview this. So far we've established a biorhythm, altering a biorhythm. You're out in nature, okay, you're calm, etc. You're absorbing that. Why can't you do that when you're in the middle of the city block? Okay, or you're at work and somebody's arguing with you. So altering the biorhythm. Second thing is focusing. You're at work, you're looking at your bookwork saying, okay, and you're there 2 hours past, you don't even know it's gone. Okay.
Right.
So therefore you have biorhythm, altering that in some way, whether it's taking a walk or just even that. We have breathing techniques, of which there are many. Some are faulty, some are not. And it all depends on your nature of how you do that.
Mhm.
And the other thing we have is intent.
Yes.
You have to desire.
Mhm. Yeah.
Change your intention.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it takes a moment for us to recognize that our brain or our thoughts are noisy, right? I mean, we literally have like how many 50,000 thoughts, like milliseconds, they're going through. And, people laugh at me. I've made a mention of different points in time, whether there be some form of crisis in someone's life. In many times people will say journal this or journal that. And where some of the, let's just say the work that I've done, here's another one, is in the morning, do it 3 times for like a minute or a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Get out a little sheet of paper and just write whatever thought comes to mind. White curtains.
Oh, you don't want to read mine.
Stop. And just for a moment, like do it in the morning, do it in the afternoon, and then do it sometime towards the evening. And just write it, not full sentences. You're not writing a story, turquoise, Paul's clock. These are those things that you just, no specific sentences, just those random little thoughts that you have. Oh, my puppy coffee maker's on. I didn't get my coffee. You will see over time, do it for, a week, for instance, and you will see over time when your thoughts seem to carry more of a negative inference, like, well, I did this when I was going through my my divorce. Not with Lee.
Darn it. I just applied.
With my former husband. And it was like, when was that time of day when I was more vulnerable to the stink thinking? And for me, honestly, it was in the morning. It was like, gee, really? All of a sudden now I'm feeling pretty shitty in the morning all the time. But then once I recognized it, then I went, oh, no. Because a lot of the times we have those really rapid thoughts, and they're pretty much useless, but yet they still set that feeling for the day. And then it leads into the more of that loop to loop that we step into. But seriously, it's just a little minute and a half. You can do it when you're sitting on the pot in the morning even.
All right, so you have 5 things now that we've tended to here that maybe you can work on. Use all of them if it's necessary. At least it's going to give you make you realize the attempt is necessary. Mm-hmm. There are 2 things. One, what she talks about, the random thinking, is called Chitta. I don't know if that's Chinese or Hindu. I don't remember. Chitta. Chitta thought. Mm-hmm. Just random thoughts come into the head. Where did it come from? Because we're all tapped into mass consciousness, mm-hmm. and some of our behavior is regulated, if we accept it, yep. by the mass consciousness.
Yes.
And the second thing I've forgotten. So go ahead.
Well, that's okay. It's because when Paul, when you had started this segment, you had made a mention about how much stuff is going on in the world and all of this and the chitter and the chatter and everything else. And yes, that is all being fed in to that mass consciousness. It's all being fed into that etheric web. And we are impulsed from that, So it's like, how do we quiet our minds when the only thing we're hearing, is about, mass shooting and people rallying and in this country and doing this and doing that? We can shut the TV off.
So I have a question. If we are impulsed or impressed in some way by what we call mass consciousness, because again, thought is energy.
Mm-hmm.
And energy is out there, and we are susceptible to all kinds of energy. So if we are impressed by that, why can't we be impressed by higher thought?
Oh, my.
What is the difference? And what do we do with that? How do we handle that? We create a world in which we can thrive in joy. We create that within ourselves. We can't do it for the rest of the world. We can put it out there for the rest of the world, for their benefit, but it just comes to the exact point of true selfhood. And we're back to that one thing I mentioned before, true selfhood.
Mm-hmm. So
validation of self.
Yeah. Paul, I'm just wondering, I kind of like to go through and kind of give this. It can be used during meditation. It can be a meditation. It can just be used as an actual, thought process if you choose. Is there something that you'd like to actually speak about before I do this?
No, I can't apply this to what we're talking about.
You can't?
I can, yes.
I bet you could.
Okay, we have this thing which Shadow Fox talks about called free will. Okay, there really is such a thing, but there is not. It's one of those contradictory things, because we always have a karmic influence, which is past life influences dealing with the present day situation.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, your will is somewhat susceptible to that karmic debt that we're here to pay. So that's why I said it doesn't really apply to now,
Mm-hmm.
except for the thought that we're blaming ourselves when there's no need for blame. And when we blame ourselves, what happens to our thinking? Our thinking gets distressed. And what does distress call? Willful behavior that doesn't have to be. Getting angry, pissed off, frustrated, kick the can, kick the dog, kick the cat, kick your... Never mind.
Me! Hey, I've been kicked before.
Okay, I came across this because we were talking about will, and will has to do with actually changing your way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the will is not a forceful expression of intention, as what we most believe. It is not a fixed determination to do this or that, or so to make changes of things to be. It is fundamentally an expression of the law of sacrifice. Under this law, the unit, meaning the human, recognizes responsibility, identifies itself with the whole, the entirety, and learns the esoteric significance of the words having nothing, which means sacrifice, and yet possessing all things, universality.
Ooh.
So if we can put our mindset on that, maybe that will help somebody along the way, and then you just throw it out with the trash. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. But it is what I would actual. I don't want to use factual. I'll use actual, which is part of factual. But anyhow, FAC. Anyhow, but
Hey, Paul, you got a couple comments there. I didn't know if you like to read.
Yes, Diana said, "Thank you. That mass consciousness is so true for me lately. I love this. It counters that leaf on the wind feeling by being at the mercy of the mass consciousness." And Cato had said, "I will definitely try breath work next time I need to calm the mind. Thank you. I love the idea of doing it as a shape. Thank you, Shadow Fox."
Yeah. And guys, you can look a lot of this stuff up on YouTube. There are so many different breathing techniques. I mean, find one that seems to work for you. Like I said, there are Lee Two Hawks had even made a mention. Some are better than others. Um, Seriously, do a little research. Find what works for you. Because what works for me, you know, it's working for me. you know?
All right, so if you take none of this away from this, or at least a tiny bit, maybe it will aid you, or you may be very comfortable being constantly in distress or in discord, or you think that you're on top of everything when you're actually at the bottom. That's called narcissism, okay, which is a dislike of self, but expressing self as a supreme and dominating individual. So, in all this thinking, and this is just thoughts, this is just an energy being expressed through the manifested physical form. And if we can do that, if we can think in that manner, why can't we think in a better manner? That's better for all of us, that is creative, that is individual, that is unique, so that we create a humanity that is individual and creative and unique.
Mhm.
Don't we require that? Don't require that. If you want peace, you can have your inner peace, but it doesn't affect the rest of the world. But if enough people have peace, if we work as a group, then we manifest that peace throughout all units on the earth.
And I've spoken about this before. I've spoken about it, I believe, in Flow, and also in different spaces on Twitter. And it's we take a look at peace in and of itself, whether we're praying for peace for the world, this, that. And I will always still hold true to this. It there really comes a point where you got to start cleaning up your own crud. Okay, you really do. That negative, nasty, stale, stagnant energy, from our stink thinking, right? How can we plant these beautiful seeds of peace in a field filled with those treacherous weeds? And I use the term weeds loosely because there's many weeds that are not weeds, but they are medicinal, um, have medicinal properties. But there are weeds that overtake and will smother a garden. So let's just consider it this way: how can we implant and impregnate peace into the world if we have all these nasty weeds that are all over the place?
You know what? It came to me. PEACE. Okay. What is an ace? An ace is the top of the level, at least in card playing, or you're an ace pilot, which means you're really talented in what you do. Ace is also a part of peace. PEACE. So be an ace and bring that peace forward.
Yes. So we, in order to have peace become established, it's clearing the clutter. Okay, so again, this is where we're going to go into the aspect of clearing the mind. All right, so that we can either create a more focused outlook. We can look for more clarity, um, and it's just a technique. This is all it is. So if you like to consider it a meditation, go for it. If you're driving down the road and you're listening to this, then I would not suggest you close your eyes and do a meditation if you're driving. You can follow along as a storyline, um, because there's just a few key points that are in it. Once you have this is yours. You can do it at any time. Okay. So, with that, now this is going to take a few minutes. If you like to stay here and sit, you can. If
I
you
got to
like,
go pee.
if you'd like to get me a cup of coffee, that would be greatly appreciated.
I gotta go pee.
Okay, never mind. And that's how it goes, right? So, and I recognize there are many people that do not like the idea of meditating, or they just can't sit long enough to meditate to get there, or they have this preconceived idea, or they have an expectation of what it's supposed to do. Um, so for right now, let's just look at this as a story or a storyline. This is your story. This is you, for you, by you, and around you. Okay. Um, we're gonna work at bringing in a couple of little techniques to quiet the mind, to clear it, right, so that we can create peace. So we're gonna clear the clutter and all the crud from our thinking, so that we can get there. And at the very end, I will give something. It's a little phrase that I do, all right, simply because, this is a technique that I've done since I've been like 16. So I'll probably skip around a little bit, but anyway. So the one thing that I will ask is, if I ask you to breathe, please take a breath. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And the reason why that is because this is one of the fastest ways to move energy from the body. Okay, so when we get to certain points, that is also another escape or release for that energy of those thoughts. Okay, so with that, we can consider this a meditation, or consider it a storyline, whatever floats your boat here, guys. So with that, please just get yourself comfortable for a moment. You can either sit, you can lay, whatever. If you start feeling like you're falling asleep, which will happen sometimes, especially with newbies, because of the energy, just please hold on to my voice. Listen for my voice, so that you don't just go off into the sleep world. And we'll bring you back. Okay? So with that, everybody's comfortable. Take off your glasses if you choose. What I'd like you to do is just take a nice cleansing deep breath in out. And as you breathe, just breathe your eyes closed. Oh yeah. Just take that breath. We can quiet and go through and do the meditation and quieting the body. But right now, the only thing we're focused on is the mind. Okay? So what I'd like you to do is, I'd like you to just, with your eyes closed, with your focus and your attention, bring your focus behind your eyes, in between your ears. There's a little room that sits right smack dab in the middle of your head. Envision that and create it now for yourself. This is your room. This is a beautiful place to be. Let's turn some lights on for a second. There's a little light switch there. Flip it on. And as we're in the middle of this room, in the middle of your head, this room may look a little cluttered at the time. So what we're going to do is, we're going to create a grounding, what's called a grounding cord. You can call it a composter. You can create it any way you like. You can do it as a vortex or a whirlpool that goes right down into Mother Earth if you choose. And we're going to start clearing some stuff out. There's going to be consider some old tapes, some old records, possibly broken records, all of those things that we've told ourselves or we've heard people tell us. These records keep playing over and over again. Let's just collect them. Are they really serving you? Ask. See how it feels for you. Are these records that are being played over and over, do they feel good? If not, let's throw them down that chute. okay, into Mother Earth, into that garbage disposal. Create that. Take a deep breath. Allow that to release. And you may look around, you may see some boxes, right? Oh my, lots of boxes. Probably a bunch of dust too, right? Let's start clearing those boxes. Those boxes are all those things that we've stored in our head that other people have told us. Okay? Everything from ever since you were a child, any of the fears, the worries, any of them. Let's collect those and let's throw them down that grounding cord, laundry chute, whatever you would like to consider it. Okay, take a deep breath, release, smile, smile, look around. Look, oh my goodness, is there somebody in that room with you? Maybe they have a couple more 8-track tape players or even reels that they've brought in. Let's grab them. Send those 8 tracks down. Send those reeled reels down. Or MP3 players. Whatever that may be for you that you identify, let's collect them. Throw and put them down into the grounding cord. And any person that is in there with you, could be your boss, could be a spouse, could be someone you've been having an argument with, in this beautiful room in the center of your head, escort them to the door and ask them to leave. This is a space specifically for you. No one, but no one, can enter or be in this room without your permission. And the what if they're not paying you rent for being there, seriously, evict them. Get them out of there. Get them out. This is a space for you. Take a deep breath. Oh my. Now take a look at this room. What does the energy in this room feel like for you? How would you like how would you like to see it? How about a new coat of paint? Change it. Just like that. What color would you like it to be? This is a place of peace. This is a place of tranquility. Take a breath. Breathe out. Smile. Oh my. This is a brand new room. Did it happen to get bigger? Did it get smaller? This is a clear channel for you. You can enter at any point in time. Any any thoughts, any things that come forward, just notice them. Send them right on out the window. Give it no never mind. Just allow that energy to be free flowing in that room. This is your room. You created any color, any size, any way that you would like it. This is a place for you to go and think. This is a place where you can ask questions and you can starts getting filled up, you know how to clear it out again. All right. This is a beautiful change some light bulbs, put different lighting in if you like. Hey, if you like, you can put in a water fountain so you can hear the beautiful sound that the water makes across, as it falls. However you would like it to be. And this is a process. This is something that is yours. You can think about it, you can internalize it. You've just cleared out your thinking room. This is yours. No one but no one can be in this thinking room without your permission. And quite honestly, this is yours and yours alone. This is a private space. So, what energy would you like to create in it? Would you like peace, tranquility, healing? Whatever it is, allow that to be so. Take a deep breath. Release. You can come here anytime you choose. Now, what I will say is when I do this And I know that people are trying to enter the room, thoughts that no longer serve me, that identity that we have, um, even from childhood, and I recognize it kind of slips in, you can clear it out. And you can state to yourself, be silent before this being of light. Say that again. Be silent or still before this body of light. However it resonates with you, allow that to be so, because this is what you're actually telling your mind. And your mind will comply with that. And I will always say, be silent before this being of light. And within moments, my mind will quiet. And so with that, please take another deep breath out and come back, recognize, notice the room you're in, your surroundings. Maybe there's something you'd like to notice that you hadn't noticed before. Please bring that to your awareness. You can take a look at it later. Right now, just breathe your eyes open when you're ready, and we're all good to go. And that is a technique for clearing the mind. So, I mean, there's more. You could really do it as a deep, deep meditation and many other things that we could focus on. But I just thought I'd give you some of the key ingredients. So that grounding cord that we create in the your head, you can do the same thing for your root chakra. And that's another way you can create a grounding cord. It could be like um, the branches or the roots of a tree. It could be like a waterfall. It could be even like a bungee cord if you like, or it could be columns of light. However, it you feel. Work with different ones and see what makes you feel good. But a grounding cord goes down to the center of the earth, and then the earth energy also comes up through your feet. So there you go. I just thought I'd put that out there, but it's a way of clearing boxes out and all those broken records. Hey, I had a couple 8-track tapes in there.
Even though I didn't do the meditation,
Mhm.
I kind of went through the steps with you as you did it.
Yep.
And boy, I had some fun with it. So I'm going to be doing this tonight. I'm actually going to do
Mhm.
it tonight because, yes, I can have fun with this.
Yeah, and that, like I said, I try to do it so everybody, if you did like to meditate, you could kind of tune in. If you just like to follow along, again, like a storyline. I mean, come on, you can have a lot of fun with, like, Paul. How many people were in there with you? I knew there were a couple, and I knew there were some boxes in there, man. You had a dumpster.
You know those tree branch shredders that you throw tree branches in and it turns it into mulch? Okay.
Yep.
So just let me tell you, I was utilizing that.
Yep. But see, this is a
That's
great
the
way.
writer in me.
Yeah, but this is a great way. What makes it feel like it's yours, right? And now we've cleared that space, so now peace can be there, right? It can take up residence. And just like I said before, how can peace take root throughout the world if we have all this stale, stagnant, nasty ass energy around, right? Clean it up, sweep it up. We've done that one before. So I'm trying to read what I don't know if trying to see. Let me see. Thank you, Cato. Yeah. I a robot vacuum cleaner. That works too. Hey, whatever works for you, man. Clean it up. I mean, you don't know how many dust bunnies I had. But these are things, and you can have fun with it. You can always change it up. And this is that first big clean, right? And when you're cleaning a house, or you're moving a house, and you're moving boxes, and you're doing this, you clean as you go, but guess what? You're still stirring up dust, right? And then the dust starts to settle. Go back in, man. Enjoy. This is something, and this is where you can literally, in meditation, go to. It's, behind your eyes, behind your ears. It's right smack in the middle of your head. There's a little room there. Flip on some lights, man. Check it out. Have fun there. You'd be surprised what you know.
Oh, definitely. I loved it. I loved it. There's a lot of other things. I've noticed that there's a lot of people that like go to the gym. They put on their little
Mhm.
iPods and they listen to music as they
Yep.
work out. You know, there's people that go to like the Starbucks. They sit there with their laptop in front of them and they listen to some music and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, Anything that takes you away from all of the other noise
Yeah. Yeah.
is a good meditation. And just to let other people know, I actually have a show, Becoming Stoic, on Sundays,
Mhm.
which also helps with that as we go over the meditations.
Which are thought forms is something to think. It's
Right.
a focused thought, right?
Right, of
Okay.
other philosophers, and Stoics like Marcus Aurelius, So even putting your thoughts down, if you were to just like when you were saying earlier about, just write it down, it's just a thought, boom, put it down, write it down. Uh, do that because that can help you focus on something where later you can come back and take a look at it. Oh, laundry. Oh, that's right. I had laundry to do, bam. And now you can go do your laundry and it put it the point that I'm trying to get out is a lot of times a lot of those thoughts of chaos is because there's a lot of disorganization. So if you take those thoughts and you write them down, even if they have nothing to do with anything like Jabberwocky, wow, why was I thinking about Jabberwocky? Why did that thought come into my head at the time? What you're doing is you're organizing, and if you can organize your thoughts, then you can make your pathways with your thoughts a lot clearer and a lot cleaner, and it allows you to throw those 8 tracks out because I don't need to think about Jabberwocky 8 tracks, blah blah blah. They serve no purpose to me. Why am I
Right.
thinking about this? And it can help you eliminate things that you don't need to worry
Oh
about.
yeah, all the clutter. Yeah. It was really strange is when I was younger, I used to think of that as a laundry chute. It wasn't. I didn't term it as like a grounding cord specifically at that time. Um, but I did it as a laundry chute. And the reason why is because my aunt had a laundry chute. And when we were over there, my cousins threw me down the laundry chute, down into the basement. They had a pile of clothes and everything. I didn't get hurt, but yeah, they thought it was kind of neat to send me head first down that. So yeah, the
God, I would
laundry chute
love to
was
have been a fly
really,
on the wall.
huh?
I said, God, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall.
Oh no. Well, I don't know. I think they may have gotten in a little bit of trouble because it's like, thank God I didn't get stuck. But yeah, I was real teeny tiny. And they just, whoa. Well, we were all playing hide and seek and stuff, and it was kind of like whatever. But yeah, at least I did not get thrown down the laundry chute from the second floor, so that was good. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Talk about thoughts. I have two thoughts while I was out.
Just two.
I had many more, but I can't divulge them.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the coffee, honey.
And I don't know how much they apply. Okay. I am aware, and maybe you are as aware, but life, and light are interchangeable terms.
Yeah.
Light and life are
Mhm.
interchangeable terms. So next time you buy light bulbs and get your lamp lit, think of that. That's part of life.
Mm.
That is a thought. And thoughts are part of life. The second thought I had is life is a living synthesis in action,
Ooh.
as yet unexpressed.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
So those are just two thoughts I had while I was going to the bathroom.
Oh. And that's what you wrote down. So, okay, well, he's coming up with full sentences. I'm looking at purple curtains. Okay. Anyway, just remember when you're having some of those random ass thoughts running through your head, that may not be of the highest and best for serving you or humanity, cancel, erase, delete. Be silent before this beam of light. And that's what I direct my mind to do. Be silent before this being of light. So you have to recognize or have some form of understanding that you are a being of light.
There used to be, when I had to use it way back when, that I used the 3 second rule, which count to three. If you're frustrated, angry, and just think, what am I about to say? Why would I say it? Is it essential to say, or is I'm just getting rid of my freaking energy? You know, and what good is it going to do if I express this? How can I communicate in a better manner? In those 3 seconds, that's what I had to think about.
I did it as 10 seconds because I probably had a lot more to think about. 3 second rule, 10 second, whatever floats your boat.
I thought the 3 second rules, if you drop something on the floor, you had 3 seconds to pick it back up.
I just had a donut like that.
So, like we said, whatever floats your boat, just because, let's not get so, literal that, sometimes we do have to spell a few things out for people. Don't be so literal. So if I could say 10, he could say 3, I might just not say anything and just turn and walk away. And I might just do it with a smile.
Yes.
I've not seen that part of her.
Touche. Okay, I got that one. Now he's breaking on me. Wait until this program is over, and then look who's going to be running down the road. We're not going to say who's running after who, but or whom. But yeah,
whom is the correct word.
Yes. Okay, Paul. I think our segment's up because now I'm going to go.
Excellent show. Tomorrow I have Holden Collada on. We are going to be discussing the forward party. So check that out.
Who was that?
Holden Collada.
That's Holden.
Yes. Okay. I hope I said his name right. I'll have to make sure it's either Collada, but I'll find out the proper pronunciation tomorrow. Bright young individual. We'll be talking about forward party and where it's going. For those that are tired of the 2-party system, maybe this might be an interest to you. And then Saturday comedy and controversy. We're still debating what the topic's going to be, but we're going to have a good topic. And then Sunday, Becoming Stoic. Elizabeth Masters will be back. Hopefully we can, get the show back on the road there and continue with Renee Descartes' meditations.
Yeah.
So again, excellent show. And remember, everyone, you need to have some laughter in your lives. Put on a good comedy every once in a while, or listen to an
or you can take him home.
I'm being stoic.
Or you can take Lee home. But outside of that, remember, be kind, be happy, and may good things come your way. Thank you.
Check out Journey Within, 3:30 today and Saturdays.